Today, some community members gathered in support of a ballot measure to create a police oversight board.
Those community members discussed their own interactions with police and argued why they feel that this measure is needed. Our Fox 12 Drew Reeves shares what they had to say and why the Police Association says this measure is not needed. Drew?
Yeah, Measure 26217 would create a community-led oversight committee independent of the police department to investigate alleged police misconduct. But the Portland Police Association has opposed this since it was introduced to City Council back in July, saying an oversight committee already exists.
When do we want it?
Today, supporters of Measure 26217 gathered in Terry Schrunk Plaza to voice their concerns.
Justice must come. Police reform must come. Transformation must come.
And their experiences with Portland police.
When I leave here, I'm actually dropping my ballot off.
Among the speakers was Elijah Warren, a homeowner who says he was injured by police when protests came to his neighborhood.
It was crazy. It was crazy. I'll never forget that.
He says his family was in their home on the 100th night of protests when his son began choking on tear gas inside the house. He says about a half hour later, he went out to talk to police officers, and while he was telling his concerns to one, he was injured by another.
Second officer came out of nowhere and just clubbed me on the side of my head, and instantly it was just blood leaking. Couldn't get it to stop.
He says the ordeal impacted his son most.
He don't want to be around no police officers. He don't want to leave the house and go to the park without his dad.
And that's why he wants to see Measure 26217 pass. But the measure has been opposed by Portland Police Association President Darrell Turner since being introduced. He told us in July that an oversight system is already in place.
If it needs to be fine-tuned, we're willing to look at reforms to it, to rework it. But to change the whole system and overhaul it, especially at a time right now when we need surety on some things, the community needs surety. They need to know that there's a system in place that works.
The Portland Police Association also says this measure violates the law in several ways and was created without the input of any meaningful stakeholders. And supporters say if this measure passes, the board would be able to investigate complaints, enforce punishment, and recommend PPB policy changes. But Darrell Turner is encouraging voters to vote no on this measure and start cooperative discussions on meaningful police reform. Reporting live downtown, Drew Reeves, Fox 12 Oregon.